Okay, so we're going to talk about the actual problems that an archaeologist has from transferring the facts, the knowledge that he has gained through his research, to transmitting the knowledge to the people, to the local people first, but then again to the scientific community. These are two different things. It is important that the language that the archaeologist uses, be it audiovisual, be it the objects in themselves, they have to be clear enough so that the people, the students in the first stance, can understand their meaning and can understand their signification in terms of cultural development. In the case of research that has been carried out in the Upper Amazon, where the ecological environment is harsh, it is difficult to find the proper ways of exposing things like architecture and most of all the material objects that have been found in the archaeological work. And this is because, first of all, the scenery does not present itself to be the most favorable for the exposition of objects or architectural traits. One must clear the scenery, and one must place the value on certain things above others. And this is something that must be taken into account when one is trying to write a script to present the things. When an archaeologist works, he registers most of the information, and he takes pictures and sometimes takes movies or videos to help him to remember how things were and to place them in the proper order when he's reconstructing the past activities. So these things can help to make a certain exposition of the facts, an exposition of the way things were found and the way things have to be placed in order to create a sequence, a logical sequence, so that anybody can understand the cultural traits of a living civilization. This is not always easy, since most of the material objects an archaeologist finds are not spectacular things. We're talking about pottery sherds or stone flakes that are not particularly relevant to the most common visitor. But for the archaeologist, these things are the stepping stones that help to build the notion of a past society. So when the archaeologist is lucky enough to find entire objects that are aesthetically significant, it is easier to show them. But the importance of these objects in a cultural sense is not always easy to transmit. People will retain the aesthetics and not really the social part of these objects. So that's what must be taken into account into the script that the archaeologist will have to write forcibly to transmit his idea of an ongoing society. This was especially important in the Upper Amazon case, where things that we found were really unexpected. People would not believe the kinds of materials that were coming out of the middle of the jungle, because certainly they were not expected to be there. The general public would not expect to find great works of artistic pottery or artistic stone sculptures. And then again, they were there, and they were there from very ancient times. So the archaeologist must strike the audience with the importance, with the cultural significance of these findings. And that means he has to create the proper settings to present the past society in an unfriendly environment, an apparently unfriendly environment. But this is how society works. Man reacts to the natural challenges that the environment may present, and he transforms the environment. And this is exactly what we found in the Upper Amazon. The men that created the past society had to deal with difficult weather conditions. They had to deal with an uneasy terrain, not always easy for agriculture in the sense that we know it. They had to find a means to transform the jungle into a garden. And that's more or less what they did. And evidence of that is found through the archaeological work in things like pollen or starch grain evidence that is found in the sherds or in the pottery objects. So this is a complicated process that must find its way into a proper script. But the explanation must not be too technique. It must be clear and it must be scientifically sound at the same time. So it is not easy to take the archaeological evidence and place it in a historic sense for an everyday visitor.